Hi there, my name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel, and I come to you this day as in the capacity as the area director for Area 33, Division S, and District 71. And it's important that we have this conversation today, but I want to start with a story. And it's a story that I've shared a couple of times when visiting the clubs within Area 30. And I thought it's important to share it again. It has to do with what I have done over time in order to get from one point to another. I've been in situations where, because I had to take a decision that kind of stretches me, it brings out some desirable results. I have told this story a number of times about how my business struggled at some point in time, and I was looking for help. And then I met a coach whom I spent about 3 hours in his space. And then at the end of the day, I told him that I'd love to be helped by him. I'd love to be coached by him. And he told me how much I was going to pay in order to be in his space. And it ran into thousands of dollars. I had a struggling business and I needed help and I needed to pay that much. I got upset, and as I was leaving, she was about to get on the elevator. My wife then said, "Wait a minute, why are you upset?" And I said, "Look at what he said. He wants me to pay ABC amount of money, which runs into thousands of dollars. And I don't have that money." For me, I was upset. I felt he was asking for too much. And she said, "Do you have what is missing? Do you have the capacity to pay, or do you have the willingness?" So that moment, it just occurred to me what was needed. Of course, I had the willingness. I needed help. I wanted to be helped. I wanted that, but I did not have the capacity, and I got upset. She was able to help me to see that if you have the willingness to do anything, but you lack the capacity, you will find the answers. But even if you have the capacity and you do not have the willingness, you will not be able to find the answers. You'll not be driven to find the answers. So that brings me to, long story short, I had to find him when I took a loan and registered in the course, the coaching program. That was the very first time in my life that I spent money on myself based on me being intentional about my growth. All the while, having worked as an HR person for over a decade, I've always been about career growth, but not about personal growth. For that moment, I became aware of the fact that beyond career growth, I needed to be intentional about my personal growth. So I started learning, buying books, reading, taking courses, and that dramatically changed the way I saw the world, the way I saw things, and the decisions that I took. A couple of lessons. One, I was stretched because I got to realize how important it is to be humble, to listen to someone else's voice and take the lessons. Two, I didn't have the money. I needed to go borrow the money. So it took a lot of courage, a great deal of courage to recognize my vulnerability, be humble myself, and then ask for help. I had to stretch. And number three, I had to do some studying, reading on personal, based on personal growth, not on career growth. Again, that stretched me a little bit. It brings me to the concept of stretching. Without stretching, you do not really go forward. Now, many of us, we have our comfort zone, which is somewhere, below there. And then we have the goal where we want to go to. Usually there is a stretch between the comfort zone and the goal. And in between, you have all the turbulence and all the volcanoes, if you like, all the things that will stop you from growing. But in the process of trying to achieve the goal, in the process of moving from the comfort zone to the goal, growth happens in between. So what we need to understand is that the aim is not the goal. The aim is the growth that happens in between the comfort zone and the goal. I like to think that the goal is a reward for growth, truly. And this is why I'm very keen about growth. Stay with me. I'm going to link this to Toastmasters, club growth strategies and all of that. The reason I'm very keen about that is because people can circumvent, just go off the curve and actually go towards the goal, as it were, but they will not really pass through the process. So if you do some shady things to achieve some goals, the point is you miss the opportunity, the privilege of growing. The growth that comes with the friction and the turbulence when you take the path you should take towards the goal. So we need to ask ourselves as individuals, if we bring this lesson to Toastmasters, as individuals, are you growing? Do you just attend meetings or club meetings every other week, listen to speeches, and that's it? As clubs, are we growing? Or are we just hitting goals? If the members in the club do not grow, the club does not grow. So it's very critical that we look at the relationship between growth and the goal. And we need to look at where our comfort zone is. In fact, I remember one of John Maxwell's law of growth. So it's called the law of the rubber band. That growth happens outside your comfort zone. Or if you flip the law behind, up the other way around, that your growth stops when the tension between where you are and where you could be stops. There is no tension, there is no growth. That is why if clubs do not understand why it's important for certain things to happen, for them to grow, for the members to grow, then there's something missing. I like to go around with, let me see if I have some here. I usually, if you know me, I like to go around with rubber bands. The law of John Maxwell is called the law of the rubber band. Now, this is a rubber band. So if I take anything, now this is my wallet. If I want to put this rubber band around my wallet, I've got to stretch it. If I want to put the rubber band around my hand, my wrist, I have to stretch it. Even if I want to put this rubber band around this pen, for it to stay, look at it, I've got to stretch it, right? I've got to stretch it. So without stretching, so it's still slack, and I need to stretch it until it holds. So it means that without stretching the rubber band, it is useless. So as humans, if we do not stretch, we will not be able to achieve more that we could achieve. As a club, if we do not stretch, we will not be able to achieve a lot more that we could achieve. As an area, the same thing applies. As a division, the same thing applies. As a district, the same thing applies. So what Toastmasters International has done as an organization is to put goals in place that clubs will need to stretch to hit. And in the process, growth happens. Never forget, don't just go for the goal. Pay attention to the accomplishments along the line, which translate into the accomplishments that eventually translate into growth in small bites until you hit the goal. So I'm going to, at this point in time, share my PowerPoint presentation, and I hope that it helps us to gain, to learn more from what I'm about to share. Okay, so here we go. We got it. So I'm talking about how to become a distinguished club, and I've tried to present it in a way that's not. It's when you try to present data-driven stuff, sometimes people get bogged down and it gets boring. I want to try as much as possible to make this as conversational as possible. In the process, it might make the video longer, but at the end of the day, what I really want us to understand is what is possible. Now, how would you become a distinguished club? Let me share this. Okay. By the way, at this point in time, Toastmasters is celebrating 100 years. So the question I ask people when I go from place to place as an area director is, what does 100 years of Toastmasters existence mean to you as a person? What are you getting out of all of this? we all need to understand what's in it for us. Okay, we all need to understand what's in it for us. But I'll quickly go off to say, I said, Toastmasters International has these goals put together to help clubs to grow, to go up, to look forward. And but what really is important as you go for the goal is to try to pay attention to the growth that happens. And these goals, we have the educational goals, we have the membership, the educational awards rather, educational awards, we have the members growth, and let's see what else we do have. Let me see. I hope I'm doing the right thing. Just a moment. Having some technical glitches. Okay, so first, for you to qualify as a club, you need to have 20 members before June 30th or by June 30th, if you understand what I mean, okay? So you need to have 20 members, so you need to have a net growth of at least 5 new dual or reinstating members by June 30th. Now, this is very important and this is key. The other thing is or you have, so I said 20 members on June 30th, or you have a net growth of at least 5 new dual or reinstating members on June 30th. Now, the next thing that is, the next requirement there is, we look at goals to achieve. Sure, I'm having some technical glitches, but then we would go through with this, but I hope that at the end of the day, you get the point what I'm trying to share with you. First, before we got to this point, I need to remind you, I talked about goals and talked about where we are and where we could be, but pay attention to the growth that happens and see how you can apply that to you as a person and how you can apply that to your club, and why it's important to pay attention to the goals that have been set by Toastmasters International. Yeah, and for if you're watching this for the first time and maybe you're a new person, it just might give you an idea to understand that being in Toastmasters is not just about coming to sit down and enjoy good speeches, but there is a growth path that everybody needs to pay attention to. And if everyone pays attention to those growth paths, it helps the clubs to grow, it helps the areas to grow, and then it also helps the divisions to grow, the districts to grow, and Toastmasters International to grow. But let's look at education. This place is saying, what you're seeing on the screen is saying that if you have 4 members of your club achieve level 1 award, 4 of them, if that happens, you've hit the first goal number 1. The goals are broken into 10. You've achieved goal number 1. If 2 persons hit level 2, that they get level 2 award, you've got into the second level, you've achieved goal number 2. If 2 more persons also achieve that same level 2, you've achieved goal number 3. If 2 persons again achieve level 3, you have achieved goal number 4. Now, if you take a look at this, you will find out that if you have 5 persons in your organization, 5 persons, I will come to this explanation later, 5 persons in your organization, and you put the responsibility of moving forward and achieving these awards on them and support them, this is a piece of cake. You just get it done. But I will come to that later. I'm just sharing strategies that I think that if clubs sit down and plan within the area, they sit down and plan, they'll be able to tell what they need to do in order to achieve these educational goals. And let's give ourselves a timeline. It's in 90 days or so. And I'll tell you why it's important, why putting that timeline and momentum is really important. So if you have 1 person achieve level 4 pathway completion, achieves level 4 pathway completion, or gets a DTM award, you've achieved goal number 5. And see, goal number 6, 1 more person repeats the process for the goal number 5, what you did to get goal number 5, you've achieved goal number 6. 2 persons do that, you've hit goal number 6. So I'm going to move this on forward too. And then that's for education. And then membership, if you have 4 new dual or reinstating members, you've achieved goal number 7. If you have 4 more new dual or reinstating members, you've achieved goal number 8. Then that brings us to the next parameter, that's on training. If you have a minimum of 4 club officers, row of 4 club officers trained during each of the 2 training methods, 2 training periods rather, you've achieved goal number 9. So what this means is that we usually would have club officers trainings in the first half of the Toastmasters year and another club officers training in the second half. So if you have at least 4 members of your committee, of the club's committee, attend and stay full through the training programs for the first half and the second half, you would have achieved goal number 9. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of all of this because it's all there on the Toastmasters side if you get there, and believe that club officers should be able to access these and learn more. We might have another video for that, but let's focus on what we're doing here. This video is just to prove how, if we stretch a little bit and apply a little bit of strategy, what we can do. Then number 10, all you need to do to achieve number 10, which is a piece of cake, is to get your on-time payment of membership dues done, accompanied by the names of 8 members, at least 3 of whom must be renewing members for 1 period, and on-time submission of 1 club officers list, and that's it. So now that we know what we need to do to achieve the goals, when do you achieve what goals? So out of the 10 goals, if you achieve 5 out of the 10 goals, your club will be recognized as a distinguished club. If you achieve 7 of the 10 goals, your club will be seen as would have attained the select distinguished club level. And if you achieve 9 out of 10 goals, you become the club will be known as will achieve the president's distinguished. So the goals are all there. Well, it depends now on how hungry you are as a club, as a team. But let's go further. What do we need to do as clubs? What do you need to do as clubs to be able to achieve these things? It's pretty much simple. What we need to do is to establish specific goals. What exactly do we want to get? Specific goals, develop strategies, identify assignments, develop a timetable, track accomplishments. I'm going to share a little bit of strategies when we talk about strategies. In my previous life as a Toastmaster, that's what I mean, in one of the clubs I've been before, what we used to do was the president comes up, or the committee comes up and says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you will give us our DCP goals in terms of educational goals, the DCP educational goals. 5 of you will give it to us. So that means that you have 5 persons. If 4 out of the 5 persons achieve level 1 award on their pathway, you've already achieved the first goal. Now, if 2 out of the 4, you see, 4 out of 5 have done that. If 2 out of the 4 get to level 2, you have achieved the second goal. If the other remaining 2 also achieve level 2, you have achieved the third goal. Then it continues that way. If 2 again go down to, I think 2 or 1, if I'm not mistaken, achieve level 3, you have moved on. So I can't remember exactly how, because I don't want to go back the slide. But I think it'll be helpful for me to go back the slide real quick. Let me show you. Look at this. So all you need here, you need 5 persons. So if 4 of them achieve level 1, so I've explained to level 3. And then if 2 achieve level 3, you would have attained 4 goals. All of this is coming from 5 persons you've chosen. 5 persons you've chosen. And out of these 5 persons that you've chosen, if one of them gets to level 4, okay, level 4, if one of them gets to level 4 and does this, completes a pathway, or becomes a DTM, this might be further off, but I'm looking at if all these people are starting from scratch. If one of them achieved this, you would have attained level, you would have had the fifth goal achieved. And if another person out of these five get to attain this to complete the pathway, you would have achieved 6 goals. Now, that for me, those are the more difficult things, because when we talk about having 4 new members, if you're very aggressive about marketing, it's a no-brainer. But let's say you've achieved 6. Paying, doing your administrative stuff, paying and then submitting, this is every club would do it. So it's a given. If you add this administrative task or goal to the 6 goals, you've already achieved your 7 goals and you are distinguished. A minimum of 4 club persons here, the clubs here, minimum of 4 club officers attending the trainings, you've already gone to 8. All right, you've already gone to 8. And all you need to do, that is, you've already gotten 2 plus this here, that is 2 here, plus the first 6, you've already gone to 8. Remember, all you need to do from what we've seen here, all you need to do is achieve 5 and you're already distinguished. So even from the educational goals alone, those 5 persons, if properly placed and supported, can make you distinguished. 5. And by the time, if you go down to the 6 goals and you do your administrative stuff, you already select distinguished. But if you take a look at this, there is no, if you take a look at this, a club with the numbers, the right number of people in the club, there's hardly any way in 1 year they will not be at least select distinguished. If they're focused and they understand what they're looking for, they have the plan and they drive through. Let me demonstrate why I argue that way, why I think that is possible. Take a look at this here. Just a bit small, but people have asked, sometimes people ask me, okay, but what does it take actually to get to level 1? So let's assume this is it. You get on your pathway, you see, you go to level 1. Level 1, probably you need to do probably 3 to 4 speeches. Level 2, you probably need to do 3 to 4 speeches. Level 3, probably 3 to 4 speeches, depending on your pathway. Now remember, this is a blank presentation and argument. This is an overall, this is a cover, this is an umbrella presentation. There might be some nitty-gritty that'll probably take you some time. But let's assume that each level would require 4 speaking slots. Let's assume that. That means you need 12 speaking slots in order for you as a person from ground zero to achieve level 3. There might be some small tweaks and turns here and there, but just get the sense of what I'm trying to say, okay? So if that's the case, you probably need, so that means 12 slots. So if on an average, most clubs meet twice a month, 2 to 3 times a month, but let's say 2 times a month. If you meet 2 times a month, you will need each person, you will need 6 months to go from ground 0 to level 3. Let's assume that you are speaking only in your club. But what if you have, so if you have 5 persons, what the club needs to do is to ensure that these people have speaking slots every meeting. They just go, because there's a target, there's a flow. Every meeting, these guys have, if you have 4 speakers, 3 speakers, these guys are slotted in. But it might be difficult. So what am I proposing? I'm proposing what we used to do when I first joined Toastmasters. What the president would simply do, and its committee, I think I mentioned that earlier, get 5 persons and say, listen, you are giving us our DCP goals in terms of education, the educational goals. And so what we did was to begin to look for other clubs and ask, can I come speak? Can I come speak? Almost every week, there's a club that is meeting. Now, what we were doing was focus on completing the speeches and getting evaluated, moving on. I know I need to deliver 3 speeches to help my club to attain the educational goals. But you know what? In the process of pursuing that goal, in the process of having the number of slots to speak, some of us, like I, was exposed to speaking back to back almost every single week. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best speaker in the world, but I can guarantee you that if I have the opportunity to speak every single week and I show up and I speak and I'm being evaluated and I put the evaluations and the feedback into practice, there is no way I would not be better than the person who simply comes, sits down, and never exposes himself or herself to those speaking opportunities. It's a matter of time. Practice, consistent practice will always beat talent. Just give it time. So that's how some of us became a bit more confident in going out there, speaking, taking up impromptu speeches and all of that, because we were put into that place where we were stretched. That brings me back to the law of the rubber band, which I mentioned earlier. It really explained in John Maxwell's 16 Invariable Laws of Growth. So if you are not stretched, you will not be able to reach where you could reach. And that's where stretching comes. So take a look at this, what we have here. It takes maybe about 12 weeks of speaking back to back, 12 speaking slots. And you could actually do 2 speeches in a week. I think it's doable. You can actually do 2 speeches in a week, 3 speeches in a week. That depends on how hungry you are, how much time you have, and how driven you are in terms of this. So all the clubs, what the clubs, I encourage club committees to do is focus on who are those people that would give us this. And get to them, let there be some form of commitment to drive. Because when people don't know why, I tell you this example today, years after, because I know the impact it had on me. I know how my president will call me back then, the VP will call me, Stallone, are you speaking somewhere today? Are you speaking somewhere during this week? How is your growth level? What's happening? Because consistently, and I must tell you for free, I really didn't understand all of this, but all I just knew was the committee says I'd need to do something to help the club to achieve a certain goal set by Toastmasters International. Simple, that's all I needed. Question is, when people join your club, do they really know why they're joining? Do they really know what these paths are? Do they really know what these roadways are? Do they really know what's in it for them and how that reflects on the club? But that's a food for thought. But I'm just arguing here at this point in time is that at the time of recording this video, we have about 5 months to go before the Toastmasters year ends. And I think it is still doable to be select distinguished. I think it's still doable. And I'm here to argue. So get your strategy in place. I think it's still doable because there are some people that have already getting to a certain level. I don't think everybody's going to start from scratch in your club. So find out, so where are people in their various levels, and if actually their achievements will help your club in any way. And then put all of that into place and let that be this conscious drive throughout the club. Look for speaking engagements. Help these people to look for speaking engagements even outside your club, because you understand. And if you have 5 persons driven, stretched within your club to achieve this within the Toastmasters year, next year, all you need to do is put these people in place to coach other people on how to still pursue the same goal. And that's how we keep cascading, rinsing and repeating, and making the club stronger, more driven, and by extension, the area too stronger and more driven. So that's what I want to share with you, that it's possible. Why is this important? It's important because when we have quality members, we would have quality clubs. And when we have quality clubs, the experience we get, high quality. So it all comes down to the quality of members we have, how driven they are, how clear is the vision before them, how clear is the goal, and how willing are they to be stretched, to go from that place of comfort. The place of comfort is coming to just sit down and watch. The place of comfort is just to come up and do some evaluation, take up some roles. The place of comfort is to come up and speak when you feel like it. But the place of growth is to intentionally drive and stretch yourself towards a goal in order to achieve a goal. And that's what we expect. That's what we're encouraging Toastmasters within the area and beyond to do. Every club member is part of a team. And the distinguished recognition benefits everyone. Oh, yay, our club is distinguished. Yay, our club is select distinguished. Yay, our club is president. You know, everyone is happy because we're in that distinguished space. And then celebrate it when it happens. Many times these things happen and the club members don't really understand. They don't even know. I mean, announcement is done or whatever is given. They really don't know exactly what this means. Throw up some celebration. Maybe go to the pub after the meeting and just celebrate for achieving that feat. Then the members would just feel, okay, I think I like this feeling. I think we should do it again. That's the energy we're talking about. That's the energy. That's where we need to go to. And so every member is important, but they would not understand how important they are in this equation except it is selected. It is explained to them. Everyone needs to understand or listen to the radio station that I call WIIFM. What's in it for me? What's in it for you as a Toastmaster? If you cannot identify what's in it for you, if you cannot identify why you are here, then you will not be driven. So identify why you are here. What time will it take you to get to that point? Put pressure upon yourself. Why is this critical that you put pressure on yourself? Why is it important that you stretch yourself? Take, for instance, a plane. If a plane, you get to the airport and the plane simply just goes on the runway like that. It's going to burn all the fuel it has and will never take off. But for it to take off, the energy it requires for the plane to take off is by far more than the energy it requires to stay up there in the sky. So the energy needs for clubs to take off, the energy it needs for clubs to push and become distinguished is a lot more than staying there. So I encourage you, let's look at these strategies. Watch this video again and again. Send it to your team members. Let them watch. Everyone should be driven. Come together as a committee. Put your strategy together. Find people that will take this, that will champion the cause of getting the club to be distinguished. And the rest will just keep waiting. My name is Stallone-Obaraemi Samuel. I hope that I have inspired you, have given you something to think about. Every club would have their own strategy. I'm not here to share with you exactly what you need to do. I'm just here to share ideas and propel you to action. And I hope that it moves you to take action as we try as much as possible to make Area 30 better, make the clubs better, and make sure that the clubs work together, support one another. We have strong members, high quality members. And I'd like to round off with this. Having the numbers does not necessarily mean quality. People in the club need to understand exactly why they are there, what Toastmasters stands for, what it means to them, and what their action, how their actions affect the club. Well, I hope to come your way again and share some more exciting things. But at this point in time, until I come your way again, please go on growing and become a better version of yourself. And bye for now.